I would like to support the ladies in their difficulties, but wouldn't that be unfair on men who have headaches and back pains and stuff like that? Shouldn't they deserve 3-day leaves as well, paid leaves? So something very interesting has happened in Kenya Parliament, Kenya Senate, in fact. A lady in the name of Gloria Oroba, Senate member, has come to the office wearing white, fully white, but she had a stain of blood around her private part. And, obviously, as a woman, people think that, this is an absolutely normal thing that happens to women once every month. It could be an accident, right? People say it is an accident. And generally, when an accident happened, in that case, what happened? People try to, thank you very much, people try to, to be discreet. People try to be discreet. You, as a lady, you will try to go to a corner, try to change yourself or fix yourself, or maybe you're going to find one of the ladies around to help you fix yourself. Now, what happened was very interesting because then people call on her because it looked like she was walking up and down on purpose in order to be seen. She knew exactly what was going on. She did not do it by mistake. It wasn't a mistake at all. She did it purposely. So let's watch quickly to see what this was about.
Good.
And I need to seek your advice if Senator Gloria is appropriately dressed for the House. As a woman and as a senator, I find it very uncomfortable, very inappropriate for our colleague, Senator Gloria, to step in and, you don't understand if she's on the normal woman cycle or it is faking it, and it is so indecent because these are natural things that as women we go through. Our society, our culture as women requires privacy. So it disturbs me, one as a woman.
The Speaker, this is a house of respect. And there are things that should never be allowed to happen in the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, some things must just be said as they are. We have ladies here. We have wives. We have daughters. They go through these cycles. But when they go through these cycles, it's a matter to be managed personally without exposing it to other people. What Senator Gloria has done to this house today is disgrace. It's a lot of shame on this house, the Speaker.
I think I have I'm dressed as per the standing orders. I'm covered, I have a suit, I have collars. I'm just short of a tie. I'm very disappointed. I'm actually more disappointed because the point of order that is being raised to try and attack an accident that is natural, because I have stained my clothes. And at the end of the day, I just want to know, while we are discussing this issue that is not even in the order paper, is it because senators are not women who have periods? I want to know, because then maybe I shouldn't be in this house because I have periods, Mr. Speaker. And on my way here, I actually stained my dress. So, and this is the period stigma, Mr. Speaker. This is the period stigma that is making our girls kill themselves. We have a girl who killed herself because of the same issue that I'm going through. And now I understand why. Because it is the women who actually are trying to make this a crime. I am shocked that someone can stand here and say that the house has been disgraced because a woman has had her period. So women are not supposed to be in the Senate because we have periods. I don't understand. I'm in trousers. I've covered my... Honestly, the most someone can do is come to me and tell me, I'm sorry, are you having period cramps? Shall I give you painkillers? But instead, I am actually being castigated for having my period. So what we need to now talk about is, do women belong in the Senate? Because to try and pretend that women do not have periods because they're in the Senate, this is a very natural thing, and I'm very embarrassed and I'm very, very upset, Mr. Speaker. Protect me.
So as you can see, this is clearly something premeditated. She knew exactly what she was doing as she was called by other members of the Senate. What is your take on this, Mr. Robert?
Yep, I guess that that point of order which some Senate member rose against her, for me was not good, because she did it purposely. First of all, you must be aware that this woman is a politician. And in politics, sometimes it's not easy to be heard. And then she was planning about this activism, the awareness campaign, which affects women who cannot afford having the menstrual pad, so that the country can get a measure, to alleviate the plight.
So what you're saying here, this woman wanted to bring across a message in which they should help ladies in poverty who cannot afford menstrual pad, to actually bring the menstrual pad and make it available to them.
Yeah.
But she chose this way of activism to come across the whole TV and the whole Senate. And I mean, don't you think this is shameful? I find it absolutely shameful.
For me, it's not a shameful because she faked it.
She faked it.
I'm not sure that it was a true menstruation, because
But she said she was menstruating.
No, she pretended to do so. That's why she was proud to even pop in the Senate.
But still, the shock is still the same. I think the shock is still the same.
Yeah.
The shock is still the same. I mean, we are in an African setup where respect is the most important thing. Doesn't matter whether you're a politician or not. There's still the level of respect that's proverbial in African community. So how can you, as a woman, come in front of everybody dressed in white with blood on your private part?
So, as I said, she just had to kill to destroy that taboo. You understand? That discrimination. Because for her, that was the only way to do that. Perhaps before she attempted to do that in the main narrative, in writing, but it never worked.
Do you think the only way to be listened to is by shocking the world?
Yes, of course. Listen, you know why there's a war in the world?
Yeah.
Some revolution, it's because for them, they know to be heard, it may be starting a war or whatever. I'm not supporting the war because the war is a wrong thing which can affect the economy, many things. However, revolutionary, sometimes they attempt to do that to be heard. Okay. For me, that was a good platform for the entire world to be aware about that.
You feel like it's a
regardless of the shame which could go through.
You feel like it's a revolutionary move from this lady, yes. Gloria.
I fully support her.
You fully support her?
Yeah.
You don't think it's shocking in front of parents, fathers, mothers, uncles, members of the constituency of the Senate of Kenya, the population of Kenya coming forward like that with blood substance looking like on your white combination?
In another way, it's shocking, but in other hands, it's the things which will help because as I saw, there will be motion which will be debated about that. And I know there will be an issue, a conclusion, which will be the advantage of those women affected and which will be the way of alleviating their plight.
Okay, what if she has advantage and interest in this? What if she's been hired by a company that produces pads for ladies to do this kind of activism? Can we really say that she's doing this out of a goodness of her heart or she's doing it because she's being promoted or being paid by a company to do something?
So me, as a human rights activist, I can't say that there is some commercial benefit about that. Because even though we can presume that there's a company which is behind that, how many companies could appoint her? Because Kenya is a country which has more than, for instance, let's say 40 million. So meaning that company will hire to support all the women. So I don't think it can be that.
Only one company is enough. One company is enough to push you into a way of supporting their move, supporting their brand, so they can be the company the government works with, so you can provide the pads to the ladies. I completely support the idea of helping these young ladies or these women to get help because they cannot afford it. But I don't know if I'm willing to support the idea of coming in the Senate dressed in white with blood-looking substance in your private part. I don't think that is very African and very respectful. Can we say that was manipulative? I mean, couldn't she do like the other gentleman said earlier, wearing a ribbon that mentions the cause for which she's fighting as activism? She would have been listened to. She would have been heard still if she tried a method that was more appropriate, more respectful to the Senate.
You know, to shock the colleagues of the Senate, to shock the country, to shock the international opinion, the right way to do it was that. And that's why people are shocking. That's why we're talking about it.
Okay.
Because if maybe she could come with those 10 in there, I don't know what.
Okay, whether they're talking about it or not, is this an assurance to say that they're going to finally do something about it?
Yes, because I could see some fellow women who support her in another way, even though they never support the fact that she came like that. But even that the fellow men, they were saying maybe they must have emotion and debate that.
Yes, but there were ladies that were against her, completely against her. There were ladies.
But for me,
obviously understands much better than you and I the conditions of ladies that don't have sanitary pads. There were ladies that were against her.
Yeah, but men that lady was very rough. You understand? As a woman, she can be ashamed, but the way that women were talking about this issue, it's not that she doesn't care. You cannot talk like that to a fellow woman.
I think you're being judgmental.
Because you too, as a woman, you can go to that.
I think you don't have the moral ground to say whether she cared or not.
The way she was talking.
No. You may have a situation that's really out there, and does not necessarily mean you could do anything or whatever you want just because you want to bring attention to it. I mean, yes, we've seen around the world many things happening, like right now in Spain. Spain has done a tremendous job for their people. They say women now in Spain have the right to 3 days of menstrual leave a month. 3 days of menstrual leave a month, with the option of extending to 5 days if they experience period pain. On Thursday, Spain became the first European country to entitle workers with paid menstrual leave, as it passed numerous sexual and reproductive rights laws, including one expanding to abortion and transgender or whatever. What do you feel about that? 3 days menstrual leave.
So I think it's a good move because, menstrual pain, any pain, whether it can have a toothache, headache, a pain never been a good
Well,
thing.
ladies must be very happy in Spain right now. Like
Yeah.
3 days menstrual leave. Like you can just say, okay, well, I'm not feeling okay, and that's it. You have 3 days menstrual leaves, and you get paid for it.
And I hope
And that's crazy, because then that raises a question. So who's going to confirm that you really are in your period? Are you going to have like a system where people need to check you out to make sure that you're not lying? Because obviously every system in some ways tend to be abused. Wouldn't that be unfair to men who sometimes have stomach pains, back pain? I mean, they don't take leaves for that. I would like to support the ladies in their difficulties, but wouldn't that be unfair on men who have headaches and back pains and stuff like that? Shouldn't they deserve 3-day leaves as well, paid leaves?
Men are stronger in nature.
No, we're talking about men are not stronger. Women and men are equal.
Men are stronger.
We're talking. You support gender equality, right? Okay,
yes.
So these ladies support gender equality. So you cannot say men are stronger. They're the same. Women are just as strong as men.
Yeah, but don't.
So they shouldn't be given any superiority or any favors because they're
don't
women.
see that this statement can lead to people to stereotypize this, because this can affect women in a negative way. Yeah,
So how do you do about that?
For me, the solution about that, they must make a paid day if you're in a period. That will trigger people not to lie, because you say, okay, if I'm pretending that I'm a period, I want to get paid.
Okay,
they're afraid to go.
It should be unpaid.
So you should not.
So if you decide to stay home because you're in a painful situation, you shouldn't be paid for it.
You should be paid for it.
Absolutely.
Because it's an advantage for you.
For once, I agree with you. That's very interesting.
So
now,
that can be the way to monitor that.
That's very interesting as well, because we see in Indonesia, not Spain alone, in Indonesia, another country from Asia, became an early adoptee of the menstrual leave policy. So Indonesia was the early adoptee of a menstrual leave policy. The policy, which was introduced in 1948 and restructured in 2003. It says that female workers experiencing menstrual pain are not obligated to work on the first or 2 days of the cycle. Indonesia is a very interesting country, but first of all, we know it is a Muslim country, and in many of these instances, they discourage you to be in contact with people when you're going through menstrual cycles.
But first of all, you must know that Indonesia is the first Muslim country in the world, and the Quran don't allow women to go to the mosque during their menstruation.
Absolutely. So that
maybe that can be the fact.
The spiritual side, the religious side plays a big role into that decision, I believe. Yeah. Vietnam as well is another Asian country to factor in menstruation day for female workers. Its labor law stipulates a 30 minutes break for women every day of the period cycle. So every day of your period cycle, you get 30 minutes break from work just to relax, take a little bit of water or whatever. In 2020, reform menstrual leaves of 3 days a month was added. Female workers who choose not to take such leave need to be paid extra. So they give you extra 3 days leave, and if you decide not to take the leave, you can get paid for the 3 days.
Even in Zambia, in Africa, I heard about that.
Absolutely. Zambia introduced the concept of Mother's Day, in which the female worker is entitled to 1 day leave every month without giving any reason or requiring a medical certificate. So 1 day a month, a Zambian woman worker employed has got the right to stay home and be a woman.
For me, I hope if we can stick on the topic, if we can go back to Gloria, the Senate, the bottom line was, just to, especially in Africa, there's poverty, social inequality, and so on. For me, maybe we should advocate to champion for the girls who are coming from a low-income families to have the free menstrual paid.
I think it's a very interesting idea. It would be great to help those ladies to have a much decent life. much better life, more progressive, more organized life. Absolutely, I do agree with that. However, I still do not agree with the fact of Mrs. Gloria, whatever her surname is, came to the Senate dressed up that way. I don't think that's always worked. We've seen many activists do a tremendous job by acting professionally and appropriately, respectfully, make things happen. You don't necessarily need to do absolutely crazy things in order to be heard. We've seen activists undress, be naked, trying to pass a law, trying to bring attention to something. Is that really, really worth it? It doesn't necessarily work.